Well, friends and neighbors, I know here a few weeks ago I said that a friend of ours wanted me to get his dad's sea farm all running again. Well, I haven't heard anything from Steve, so I don't know if he wants to go ahead and do it or hold off on it. So anyway, if you may have seen, and I mentioned here a video or two ago about the stock racks and what I had planned. I'm planning on making like a cab to go on the Bobcat out of them. So right now I'm just kind of cutting things up and cleaning it up. Fortunately, I don't know who did the welding, but if they have kids, I'd like to know who the dad is, because I'll bet there wasn't any penetration there either. So it doesn't take a whole lot of cutting. They just made a mess. And I'll bet their wife thought the same thing. So anyway, that's where we're at right now, just kind of cutting things up and eyeballing. We have some of this not so good wood in the stove in the shed. That's nice and toasty in there. It's damp and chilly again today. I don't know what the temperature is, 40 some degrees. You can't tell that. Oh, when was it? Yesterday morning, day before yesterday, I took the mower and chopped up all the leaves, and you can't tell it because more have fallen. So now you're all caught up again. I'm going to continue measuring and cutting and planting, and I'll bring you back. Well, folks, we're getting a start on it. I hate being back. This phone, I have it all the way back, but I'm like 5 feet away from it, and it gets me every time I video something, or it catches me sometimes. But you can kind of get an idea of what we got going on there. Now it's going to stand up this way. Let me bring you back and I'll give you a better idea. Okay, maybe that gives you a little better idea. I got a whoop-de-woo in there. I'll try to straighten it. What happens, you bend metal like that, it's hard to get it straight again. I may just take the Sawzall and cut it, and then bend it back up, because when you get a bend like that far, it stretches the metal. But anyway, fits down over the box there and runs up the back. Now I'm going to add probably another foot or two up on top of that, so it's got some headroom. And this section right here, I may have to make some cuts in those sections and bend this end in. And I'll show you why I'm thinking that. My hydraulic hoses are going to be rubbing on it if I don't. And it's not standing straight either, so I won't, if I do have to bend it, it's not going to have to be far. But that kind of gives you an idea. I have plexiglass in those boxes, or poly whatever, and that's going to be screwed on the outside just to keep the weather out. It's not a roll protection thing, not by any means. It's too light a tubing, and so it's not roll protection at all. It's just something to keep me out of the weather this winter when it's cold. So we're getting a start on it. I'm going to cut you off here and we'll bring you back when we get more progress. Well, friends and neighbors, old Doc here. And we have troubles and woes. Everything was going good until it wasn't. You see the mess in there, hydraulic oil splattered all over everything. I thought we'd ruptured that hose. Turns out we didn't. That hydraulic drive sheave, you can see the inner portion of it. See the threads there? Okay. And if you go back in my videos, you'll see how this works. This slides inside of that. It slides right inside that tube just like that. And then this brass gland nut screws into that tube. Well, how it did it, I don't know. We had 2 pretty good snows. We used the Bobcat, the first one, which is earlier in this video. That's me operating the Bobcat. And we had that short bucket on here, that little cut-off bucket, and it didn't do very good because it kept gouging and stuff. Well, later on I put the big bucket on. It works a lot better with the snow because you got more bottom to it. You can get it flat on the ground and it doesn't, you know, ride up on top or gouge in like that little stubby cut-off bucket. Anyway, things dried up, whatever, warmed up. We had good warm temperatures. And then we had 70-mile-an-hour winds. And the winds bent the top of my doors up there. And so you see it's hitting right there at the very top. Well, it wasn't that bad, but I'll continue on. So snow melted, had a few nice warm days again, and then it turned off. Well, here last Friday night we had 5 inches of snow again. So Matthew happened to be home, so he got on the Bobcat and moved the snow and everything, did a good job. And that was Saturday when he moved the snow. Well, then Sunday, I thought, well, I'm going to go, you know, just do a little touch up over at Mom's. And so I got on the Bobcat and went over there, and I was about halfway done, and I thought, geez, this thing, it's just getting slower and slower. And I moved the lever to close up that drive sheave, tighten the belt, you know, to go faster. And it wasn't making any difference. So I was done anyway, and I came back and parked it in here, and I seen the hydraulic oil slobbered all over. So I started the machine back up, and it was just sitting here running. I was looking things over, and finally that belt, it just quit turning, and it really started knocking and making a bunch of noise on this end. So I shut it off right away. And while I was looking for the oil leak, I took that top bolt out and slid the shield down. And then you have the swivel right here that goes in the end of to run your hydraulics. I was going to unbolt that. When I grabbed it to put wrenches on it, this whole half of the drive sheath slid out. And the reason it slid out is because that brass gland nut that is supposed to be screwed in there came unscrewed, let the whole intersection of the hydraulics come out. So that's where we're at. And then here the other night we had like 65-mile-an-hour winds again, which bent the doors even worse. And we've never had that issue before, but now it's becoming an issue. I'm gonna have to, when Matthew comes home for Christmas, I'm gonna have him raise me up in the loader bucket, and I'm gonna weld the plate up there back on this side so the wind can't push the doors back in and bend them. But so anyway, I'm gonna put some blue Loctite on these threads all the way around. I'm going to clean everything up good. Put some blue Loctite on this gland nut threads and see how chewed up those holes are. I believe I'm going to drill 2 new holes, one here and one on the opposite side, and so I can get a spanner wrench on there and tighten it up good. And if that screws in deep enough to where it's flush or near flush here, I may take a chisel and put a few crimps in that, in this lip right here, to keep that from coming out again. Or I may take a small drill bit and drill in the side of this and into that brass and put a small roll pin in there to keep it from coming back out. I thought that I had put Loctite on that the last time I put it in, but I don't see any signs of it, so I may not have. But that's the plan. I just wanted to bring you up to date. Yeah, we've had 2 good snows. I think the first one, when I was moving snow, I think we had like 7, 8 inches, I don't remember. And then here, last Friday night, I believe it was, Thursday night or Friday night, we had 5 inches more. Thankfully, we didn't have the 70-mile-an-hour winds with it. But boy, the temperature really plunged with that wind. It got down in like 21 below zero was the wind chill and stuff, and so she's cold. But she's supposed to warm back up. She's supposed to warm back up. I think they're talking like 50 degrees for Christmas, and that's fine by me. I don't give a hoot and a holler whether there's snow on the ground for Christmas. We still have the wind and warm temps the other night. It really melted a lot of the snow and ice. I mean, we have some left out there, you can see. So, I mean, it's not completely gone. But bring you up to date on the cab build here. It's kind of the weather and having to use the Bobcat, it's kind of come to a standstill. I got some tack welds here on the hinges, and I have these. I made these brackets to hold down, but I don't like that, because if I put plexiglass on the inside or the outside of this, those are going to be a pain in the butt. So what I got instead is some of these lockdown clamps. And I'll probably put them like right about in here. Put the bottom part there and then the top here, so when it's locked down, the lever is down here. And that way if I need to flip the cab up, just flip this lever up and tip the cab over. So anyway, there hasn't been any further development as far as that thing goes. But I haven't, so I need to make up a phone holder that clamps on here somewhere. My regular camera holder or I use an old phone for a camera. Vibration and stuff, it won't stay on here. So I need to make up some kind of a clamp thing or something like that, so when I move snow, you know, I can do a little bit of recording. So there's that. But we've been working in here, doing different things, you know, monkeying around. Oh, I haven't shut the gas off on the Bobcat. I'll check the oil, make sure. And I did change oil in the Bobcat here. I don't remember if it was before the second snow or I believe it was before the second snow. But being as I left the gas on, I want to pull the dipstick and make sure it didn't flood the crankcase. That baby right there has been really nice. We throw some firewood in there and old cardboard boxes to get it going and get that baby going, and then I turn that fan sideways and put it on low, and as airtight as this building may seem, gaps in every corner and around the doors and everything, it really does a good job of warming things up in here. It takes a little bit, but when it's down in the single digits and stuff, you know, and even in like 20 degrees, that hydraulic oil gets really, you know, stiff. Well, that little starter on this doesn't like to crank it very hard to start. So we fire up the old jet blaster there and put some diesel heat to it for about 10 minutes and to warm up that hydraulic fluid, and it makes a big difference on how this thing starts. And it's just because as soon as you hit the key, the hydraulic pump starts turning. You know, it turns with the flywheel. So anyway, I just wanted to bring everybody up to speed on what's been going on, which hasn't been a whole lot, and I'm sorry about that. And I need to get this video out and get everything. So there may be, like, the beginning of this was probably 2 weeks ago. So maybe 2.5 weeks ago. So with that, friends and neighbors, I just will shut off my drop light, my old school drop light that's plugged into the wall. So with that, friends and neighbors, be kind to yourself. Do something kind for a friend, a stranger, or a loved one. Make sure I got my keys. And if I don't get a video out before, I want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas. Happy trails, friends and neighbors.